Real estate is entering a new era. Everything is changing. Everything from lead generation, Facebook ads, and general unrest in the market, there's been a massive shift. Methods that used to work are now struggling to generate returns, while those leveraging trust are now becoming the thought leaders within the market. In this video, I'm going to break down the lead magnet strategy that builds trust at scale and generates listings so that you can have your best year in real estate in 2025. So just taking it back a step, we start off with Lead Magnets 101. Essentially, we're going to break down the fundamentals here, and it's important for you to understand. The key thing here is that there needs to be a natural progression from your content towards a low barrier next step. Most agents have this common misconception that all you have to do is basically just say on a video ad, if they even have one at all, work with me or book a call with me, and that's going to build enough trust and leverage to position yourself as an expert or to just get someone to want to work with you in general. And this is furthest from the truth. Pitching to book a call or work with me isn't going to appeal to 95% of the market who aren't at the stage of hiring an agent or who haven't built enough trust with you in order to do so in the first place, right? So lead magnets essentially serve as an upgrade from your content, and they give a complete guide to solving a prospect's problem, which builds even more trust and allows you to capture contact info and build trust at scale. So the first step in order to actually create lead magnets in the lead magnet strategy is to identify and select a niche audience that you can specifically cater to with your lead magnet. So you can just take a screenshot of this. For some examples, we have first-time home buyers, downsizers, empty nesters, move-up home buyers, luxury, etc., etc. From here, once you've chosen your niche audience, you're then going to identify the problems associated with that niche audience. And each individual lead magnet that you create should solve a narrow problem. So just for some examples, there's not enough homes on the market. Mortgage rates are high and homes are less affordable. I don't know how much my home's worth. I don't know which home improvements are worth it. I don't know, right? Those I don't know questions are great identifiers of what the best questions and problems to answer actually are. So once you have those problems, you're then obviously going to choose a solution. So from here, essentially the lead magnet, I can't stress enough, should completely solve a narrow problem with a single solution. Okay. Completely solve means you're providing enough information that you can build trust with them. And it's not just some lousy surface level info you can get on Google, right? You want to make sure this is unique proposition value that you're offering to your client that's not found, within any basic search engine that can take 5 minutes to find, right? So a couple examples of this would be to reveal a problem through an audit, an analysis, an inspection, a test, a quiz, or a case study, etc. And from there, another example would be like a free trial, so a free home prep consultation, or like step one to a multi-step problem. So for example, knowing my home's value is step number one of selling. And the methods that the lead can take in order to actually consume the lead magnet are things like PDF downloads, checklists, comparison charts, tools, calculators. You could just take a screenshot of this. All of these are great ways to post your lead magnets and make it easy for the lead to consume. And one thing that's extremely important is to run your lead magnets once you have your information. Let's say you have a PDF on all the common solutions to first-time home buyers, for example. You need to make sure it follows the lead magnet checklist. So number one is, does your lead magnet provide a complete solution to a specific problem? Again, like I said, if you're only solving surface level issues and you can find this information elsewhere, it's not a complete solution to a specific problem, because most specific problems don't have complete solutions online. The next question is, would you pay $50 or $100 for your lead magnet? We'll break that down in a little bit later. Does your lead magnet have one idea per slide? Does your lead magnet have one graphic or image per slide? Does your lead magnet promote other lead magnets? And does your lead magnet have a call to action to another conversion mechanism or your calendar? We're going to break each of these down and show why they're important in a bit. But if your lead magnet does not have every single one of these, it is wrong. It either has all of them or it is completely wrong and you need to fix it right now. So I'm sure the next question is, well, how do you actually make great lead magnets? And I break this down into 5 simple steps here. So number one is actually how to choose the lead magnet you're going to be creating. You're going to have the first 60-second test, the $50 test, the useful test, and the readable test. So number one, how to actually choose lead magnets themselves. Again, you're going to want to list out those different categories and cover every single part of your service. and then essentially make a master level doc for each part of the service that you can cover and solve. And why you do the master doc is essentially to be able to interpret your own information and be able to regurgitate that information in a way that makes sense to you. If you can't explain it to yourself and understand it yourself, chances are now 99 to probably 100% of the time, you're not going to be able to explain it to somebody else. And another thing I like to say is if you can't explain it to a fifth grader, it's probably not well enough understood by you yourself as the individual providing that information. And so next we have the 60-second test. So this is important because you want to make sure most of your slides can be read within 60 seconds. And you want to make sure that there's a photo associated with the text within the slide itself. If you're making, of course, a PDF or a slideshow, for example, on your lead magnet, people don't care enough to read all of this comprehensive information out loud. Attention spans as well as trust are both at an all-time low right now, especially in the US. And so we need to be able to figure out a way to combat that. You can do this just by reading your individual slides and use a 60-second timer to read it out loud. Make sure you're under those 60 seconds. And if you are, you're good. Just for some examples, here's the flow of a presentation that I created. So if you're buying or selling a home in X area, you need to read this. As you can see, that's under 60 seconds. Buying or selling your home is one of the most daunting tasks you will ever do unless you have a step-by-step plan in order to take care of that process. As you can see here, this is a very easy to read, understandable process of going through each slide. And each slide has a corresponding image that's relevant to the text so they can easily digest the information. Again, pictures are much easier to understand. Pictures, as they say, are 1,000 words, right? And this is essentially just going to further ingrain this into their memory. And if they remember what they're reading, they're going to trust you some more if it's making sense, right? So the next test is the $50 test. So the question you would ask yourself is, would you pay $50 for this lead magnet? Now, I already broke this down with you before, and the way you can determine whether it's worth $50 or not is, are you providing unique insights that you can't get anywhere else? You also want to be providing enough information that makes it worth it to read. It can't just be one fun fact that no one knows. You want to make sure it's a comprehensive guide, a complete solution to a specific problem. And so next we have the useful test, right? So is this actually useful? Take a step back and ask yourself that question. Are there actionable steps for each part? And can they implement these steps within 24 hours? If they can't implement the steps that you're providing for them, they're going to have a hard time conceptualizing these being a reality for them. And again, it's just going to lose that trust factor with you and the lead. And then finally, we have the readable test. As I stated before, you want to make sure that the first 60 seconds you have a headline and your image. You want to make sure it's easy to read, understandable, and a corresponding image, one per each slide, as I said. And the final step that's extremely important to understand is, do you actually talk like this when you're writing this out? Does this sound like how you talk in person? Or does this sound like some superficial AI bot that wrote this for you? People can sniff that from a mile away. Make sure this actually sounds like you. And like I said before, if you can't explain it to a fifth grader, you're probably not good enough at explaining it in general. So now that we've understood how to actually create lead magnets, another thing and the final aspect to this is actually converting the leads. And if you want to maximize your conversion rate, you have to have multiple ways of converting the leads into clients. If you're purely basing everything off of like booking a call on your calendar, which essentially is basing it on the client's convenience, then only a fraction of the total leads will actually end up becoming clients. So just here are 6 ways of actually converting leads, effectively that are not just booking them into your calendar. So a community or a group, open houses, appointment setting, live workshops, newsletter, or just providing more content. So we'll break each of these down real quick for you. So for communities, this is typically a Facebook or a school group. Within these groups, we have built-in social proof, whether it's client wins, case studies, or specific audiences. What this is going to do is demonstrate trust and build authority. And within this, you want to have direct and indirect communication. So indirect communication would look something like videos that you're providing that are specified to someone's specific needs. And direct communication would obviously be, texting within the group chat. Another form of indirect communication is posting group messages. Essentially, that would be a blast that would send a specific message to a certain group of people or the entire group on school or Facebook, getting them to take an actionable step that leads them towards their goal. Next is an open house. So in-person appointments are great because they are low-stakes settings, right? And it's one of the best ways to convert leads. And the beauty of it is it can be used for both buyers and sellers. Again, this is taking the step from now they get to see you on video to actually getting to meet you in person and tangibly seeing who you are even more realistically than watching you on a video. So, enough is said for open houses. A lot of realtors do this. I'm sure you do it. Get into it. Next is appointment setting. So you're either going to directly do this yourself or hire an ISA to do this for you. Essentially, you can book like 3 to 10x more appointments by contacting the leads directly. And the beauty of this is that it complements all the other conversion mechanisms. Essentially, you want to set up a CRM in order to make this work. So if you use Follow Up Boss, Go High Level, Close.com, Monday.com, there's a ton of different CRMs you can use that have automation in order to make this a high leverage task, right? If it's automated, it's a high leverage task. So you can have this book a call at the end of your PDF, or you can have book a calls, when you're seeing people in person, you can send them a link. You can have it within your content. Like let's say you post content on social media, you can have that in your description and your bio. There's a million different ways you can book a call with you. And it's basically taking all these different sources of traffic and it's funneling them into one specific area that makes it convenient, not only for you, but for your prospect. So the next thing would be a live workshop. So this is usually like a webinar or an in-person seminar, right? And the key with this is having a consistent schedule. Typically, you're going to want to make these live. If they're not, it can be a little bit strange because if you're not having live feedback with people's questions, it can come off as a bit disingenuous. Essentially, and what you want to do is a live teaching or demonstration of a subcategory of your specific niche. So you want to think of this as expanding on your lead magnets within a live setting. And so next we have a newsletter. So you're going to want to send this once a week via your email list. And the beauty of this is that it's a direct link from your thoughts to their brain. And it's one of the most highest leverage tools that you can possibly do to convert clients. And the reason for this is because it only takes you, let's say, 30 minutes out of your day, but you can blast this to as many people as possible and you're providing value to as many people as possible. And so finally, we have long form YouTube content, what you're watching right now. It is one of the best ways for converting people into clients. And the reason for this is the more time they spend watching your videos, the more trust is being built. So the more videos you have, the more familiar your prospects get with your tonality, your cadence, and your communication style. And essentially, it's almost like meeting you in person, but you can meet millions of people potentially at scale and essentially, build that trust with them at scale. If you found this video valuable, you'll 100% find my real estate YouTube ads course valuable as well. In there, I go over how to create banger video ads, how to create high-performing lead magnets, how to manage your ad account and media buying, and much more. You can check that out right over here. That's all I've got, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.